All right, well, still working on these door panels, and this is the passenger door panel. And if you recall the last video, you're going to go, hey, wait a minute, that was like covered in foam, and you took it to Mike at MLW Upholstery, and it was ready to recover, or, to cover in upholstery. And that was what we said then, that's what we thought then. And Mike started working on it, really getting into it, and it was like, it's so good to have a conscience and to work with someone who really cares about the project coming out really good. And he said, hey, this is not ready, right? It had some structural problems. It wasn't smooth and flat enough once he really dug in. He goes, he called me, hey, and he was very nice about it, but hey, come back and get this and redo it. And so I did, and he was right. And again, it's good to have a conscience because, we want, maybe some shops would have just said, okay, you brought it, you did it, we'll cover it. And it would have come out bad. I re-glassed this whole thing. I put another layer of fiberglass and then did a lot of filler work. You can see the filler here. And my shop looks like it snowed in here. And then there's the driver's door. And, I took what I learned from the passenger door. And, I got like 40 hours into this door panel. So the driver's door only took 20. But, I did a double layer of fiberglass. Same thing, cut the Tesla panel out, fitted it on, did all that stuff. Glassed it, and now you can see there's a lot of filler on it. Smoothing it out. And then I took these by Mike's shop, and, and he picked it up and goes, oh, this is sexy, man. And I can feel it. He goes, you're there. You're there. You did it. And he was complimentary, so that was really nice. And so, yeah, it's worth taking the extra time, do it right. And he's going to put the foam on this time, right? I think he'll do a better job. So this is Wednesday. We're shooting for Friday to have him come pick these up. I'm going to mount them in the car so he can see exactly how they sit. And there's some areas that have some close fit where you don't want to put foam, whatnot. So, we're 2 days away from it actually being ready this time and being really good. And what I'm working on now is how do you attach this securely to the car door? Right? I talked about, I think, these BMW style posts, which I like. This is a piece you drill a hole and you snap that into the metal of the door shell, and then you put this piece on this door panel and it snaps in, and then it's removable and reusable, unlike a Christmas tree, right, which are like pretty much a one-shot deal. These have a little post that can, you can take the panel on and off, and you need that, right? What if you need to replace the speakers, or the power windows quit working, or you got to be able to remove the door panel and do any kind of repair or adjustment that you need. So I'm still using these, but I had put them in the panel early, and then as you go to level the thing, well, they get sanded off and then they pop out. They don't work. So the plan now is to actually mount the panel, put a couple of these, probably fewer of them, in, and there will be it's got a little mushroom head that sticks up, but he'll just, when he puts the foam on, just divot the foam a little bit for that so it lays flat on those where they actually go and they won't get sanded off. A lot of detail. So those will attach the perimeter. One of the things, the door panel, if you look here, right, there's this metal part from the factory up here, and the window felt, the seal for the window goes over here, and this is metal, and this clips onto the top of the door frame, and it really is secure. Clips all along the top, it really holds it tight. And there is a channel at the bottom of the door shell, and I went ahead and made, the factory door panels have a little clip, so I made these clips that will clip into there, and that's really going to help hold it good as well. So the top and bottom will be secured, with this metal piece here and these brackets that I fabricated out of joist hangers, right? And those are totally secure. So top and bottom, the door shell will be clipped onto the door really well. But now we got the door pull, right? And that has a lot of force on it. So I've gone ahead and put the armrest and the door pull on the door panel. And you know, these are from the Tesla, right? What you want is this, you know, someone's going to grab this and pull the door shut. And you know, there's going to be some force on that. So you don't want that just attached to this plastic shell. It's not going to be sturdy, right? And you can see there is a screw hole here and a screw hole here. I don't know if the lighting's good, but there is a screw hole right where my finger is. And what we want to do is put some pretty sturdy screws. I'm going to use 1/4 20, hex wrench head deals, and those are actually going to go through to the door shell, to metal. So when you grab this, you're actually pulling on the metal of the door, not just pulling on the plastic of the door shell. And these are at a funky angle. Here's a rod sticking in there to kind of approximate the, so you can see that's not sticking straight out, it's at an angle. And this one's at this kind of angle here, a little bit. And so what I'm going to do, I've already put this on and used that rod to mark exactly where on the door shell these would attach, and then I'm going to use riv nuts. These are pretty cool. Right, you drill a hole in the metal, the exact right size, and then you use a special riv nut tool, and you end up with, did a couple quick tests here, right, a nut which is flush, right, and when you squeeze it you can see there's a ferrule that expands with some teeth to keep it from spinning. So those are what I'm going to put on the actual door shell on the car. And here's the actual door shell, and I've marked right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I've got some Sharpie. X marks the spot there and there. Where I'm going to drill the holes and put a riv nut in so that the panel bolts to the actual metal door shell. And there's the window mechanism inside here, so you can't go too deep. You don't want it to interfere. I think I've got the right size. I went and bought like a couple increments of bolts so that we can be sure they end up fitting. I did measurement on it, but this surface is flat. This surface is flat. I'm going to have to put the riv nut in, then put some threaded stock in and bend that to the right angle for the screw. Bend this metal to try and match the angle that it's going to come in. And that may loosen the riv nuts up. They are steel, so if it does loosen them, then I'll just hit that with the MIG and just tack weld them in place so they stay and don't turn. But it's good to get all this worked out and make sure they attach in the right location and correctly before we upholster it. And we're trying to do that in the next day and a half, 2 days. Alright, so I've put the riv nut in the door shell. It's 1/4 20, and you can see I've got this long 1/4 20 bolt that I'm going to use. I'm going to thread it in here and then try to bend the sheet metal to the right angle for the actual door panel. Here's the upper one here, right? And this is probably 16 gauge or something sheet metal, so it's bendable and there's room without interfering with the window works in there. And so here's the actual door panel and armrest pull. In this hole, you probably can't see the hole, but that comes out at like a 30-degree angle, and square this way. This hole is more challenging. you can see that. I'm going to call that a 45-degree angle forward and a 45-degree angle downward from, you know, the flat plane. So I'm going to attempt to bend the metal that those riv nuts are sitting on to match that, so we can put this in and then use, is what we're actually going to use on the door. It's a 1/4 20, 3.5 inch, you know, cap on there. And I bought a couple different increments in case my measurements were off. They're pretty cheap, but that'll go in there, maybe, through the hole and into that riv nut, and bolt that down to the metal door shell, make it strong. So I've bent, you know, put this long 1/4 20 carriage bolt in there and bent this metal to get what I hope is the right angle, 45 forward, 45 down on that hole. And then, and if you look real close, see if I can see it, the riv nut did come loose a little bit, which is what I suspected would happen. So once I verify that the angle and location is correct, I'm going to take my MIG. These riv nuts, hey, you hear it? It's loose. So it would eventually maybe come loose and spin. So I'm going to take a MIG and zit, zit, spot weld that in so it holds, hopefully forever. And this one was supposed to be about a 30-degree down. I bent the thing a little bit, but that looks about right. So we can fine tune it. So I'm going to try and fit the door panel now and run those cap screws in. See if we can bolt this door panel to the door shell. Make it strong. Well, maybe we're done and ready. You know, the work to get these panels to fit. You know, I talked about putting studs in here, riv nuts here, and here, so that these, you know, they're not tightened up. It's a little bit loose, but man, getting those to line up, that was hard work. But we did it. And you know, here's the passenger door. I think the shape is right. I got these self-tapping screws here holding the panel flush. You know, and it was flaring out just a little bit, and I put these in to hold it tight. I put some heat here, and it looks like it's settling in. We're going to replace these. I'm going to use Christmas tree fasteners instead of the BMW ones. They're just stronger and tighter. That'll be okay. But that is the passenger door panel. You can see our little gap here. I'm going to actually use a Christmas tree there to make that panel stick good. You know, we got it. It's the shape and the look I want. Mike is coming over to look at it in situ tomorrow and hopefully take them away and upholster them. Yeah, the hours I've got into this, it's ridiculous, but we're getting there. This is just a quick look at the driver's door. It's kind of the same situation. Got self-tapping screws holding it down, heat to help it, you know, get kind of a memory for that shape. This inset panel in, got the door pull in, got screws and riv nuts to hold that tight, and you know, it fits. All the clearances are good. They're super close. You can see there's this trim piece here. You can see it, right? Kind of a welting that goes over that body pinch line. Super hard to get that to clear, but it does. And the door actually shuts and latches. I'll try it one more time. There. door latches and shuts completely, and the door panel is in place. It's true for both sides. I think we're ready to give it over to Mike, MLW Upholstery, and you know, it's a nice fit. And he's gonna just work his magic, put some leather, put some vinyl, do some custom stitching. You know, I did work out the trim piece here on the driver's side, matched what I got on the passenger side. I think it's gonna look cool. But don't ask how many hours I have into stupid door panels. Hope it's worth it. I think it will be. When it's all done and looks cool, we'll appreciate it. Alright, here we go.